I guess simply put, portfolio learning is when we as an institution meet the learner where he or she is, help them to get to where they want to go, to make sense of their learning along the way, and at the end to be able to articulate the skilled persons they are as they journey towards those goals they've set for themselves. It's not about putting pieces of paper in a binder that demonstrate that I've taken a course or I've done this. It's how I feel about myself and my ability to really seriously reflect on myself as an active learner and to continue that learning process. Therein lies the mind switch that happens that makes a lifelong learner. That's the transformation, right? But I think the most transforming part of learner is when I'm excited and alive by the fact that I can engage in this learning. That's what we want our learners to have. I mean, we have to, again, if this is you're critically analytical about what you want to bring to your next step, whether it's an interview, whether it's further education, whatever it is, personal growth, that doesn't matter. You need to be thinking about what is the appropriate documentation that might be helpful. So we have to help our faculty, help our learners be critically analyzing how and when and if they need to use the product. To think about how it connects with Education Without Boundaries. If you're meeting the individual learner where he or she is, that assumes, in a sense, education without boundaries. I'm here at the institution to meet you, and whether you come into me through online learning, you come into me with recognition for your prior learning, you come to me with a program that's lockstep, I'm meeting you where you are and walking with you as you get to where you want to go. So I think it encompasses the reality of Education Without Boundaries in a frontline way. Now, National Caliber College, I think that there's a sense in which we decided that we would look at portfolio education, become a portfolio college, and then extend that to Education Without Boundaries as setting ourselves apart. This is the way we're going to become a national caliber college, and even beyond a national caliber college, an internationally known college. Portfolio didn't develop in isolation.
Yeah.
It didn't develop as this thing out on the side, although sometimes it seems like it might be out there. Educational theories and practice have been changing and being thought about and being tried out for decades. I mean, the 70s. You know, Oisey in the 70s came up with a lot of this stuff. So you can't separate that out. This is all part of the teaching and learning mix, and not just how they relate, but how one can play out against the other, how one can be an implementation tool, how one can be a push, a motivator for change in the other. So I just want to say that yes, portfolio can influence, does influence, and will continue to influence teaching and learning. But teaching and learning is a growing, vibrant thing too.
Yeah. Where's the body of evidence, or where can we, point to find the evidence of that transformative learning in our learners?
Well, I guess the evidence of transforming learning is walking around. It is our learners. That is the only place you're really going to find the evidence of that. We can do learning narratives, we can have teaching and learning dialogues, and that shows it as well. But our evidence needs to be in the people who walk through our corridors and eventually walk out our doors with some kind of certificate from us. I think that that's the aliveness of the individual learner. The things we do here though now is we are having portfolio interviews. We're inviting people to come in and using a portfolio approach to tell us why they think they're the best for the jobs and how they've met the top qualifications we're asking for. Can we do more? Obviously and absolutely. I mean, I think that portfolio learning and portfolio is an underutilized term and an underutilized reality in some sense in NSCC. The portfolio concept and the portfolio reality is developmental in this institution. Are we there? Absolutely not. Will we ever get there? Well, I don't think in my tenure here anyway we will. We'll grow this. We'll change it. And I think that that's the part that we forget about. So yeah, okay, a board member wanted to know what a metric was, and that's a really good question. And if I were a board member, that's a sign of a responsible board member to me. Good on whoever it was. But our metrics for looking at that might need to change as well. How do we look at making more meaningful the students' exit activity around portfolio, rather than having just a milestone on the transcript. Might it be more worthwhile to have that student engage in a presentation of his or her learning and a dialogue with others, maybe in the classroom, with teachers, with invited people, lunch and learn, whatever. I'm in the CCEDP faculty working group. What if we don't look at a graduate profile? What if we look at a graduate portfolio? That's an incredible shift for an institution, and that's going to carry us further along significant portfolio learning lines.
You see a place for digital portfolio, for ePortfolio in the college?
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's alive and well. And you know, interestingly enough, I think I was in a meeting the other day where we were talking, it was at one campus, about the experience of portfolio and how do we get to benchmarking good practice in portfolio. And in that particular campus, the IT people, not because it's IT, but because they've engaged in the process and they've made sure that the reflective piece was part of the process, is probably a model of good practice. I mean, I think that's the same as portfolio, Steve, and I think that's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the process, it's just in a different venue. As you know, I know little about the ePortfolio, so you have to, you know, put this little piece right up front that I'm coming from a lack of knowledge in this, but again, I'm going back to, I don't think that's about ePortfolio, I think that's about portfolio. But I don't see ePortfolio, as I've told you before, as being the standard, because certain people, they're not there yet, and that's not their world, and it's not going to be their world anytime soon. They want to represent themselves in a different way. But I hear your point on being able to access the wide array of words and knowledge and ways of representing yourself that is available to the digital. Well, I would not put in an ePortfolio system. I would have something available for those who want to tie in and do it that way, right? Same concerns as everybody else has. How do we benchmark good practice? How do we give our learners the very best of what we have to offer? And how do we support faculty on the front line who need the supports, so that learners aren't going out with the big binder and plunking it down in the middle of an interview, or other things that show that they haven't quite gotten there yet?